Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to TAO here in Hollywood, California for the final press conference for the undercard of the huge fight that we have Saturday night taking place at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, USA. Now it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing USA. We're sponsored by William Hill, Wow Hydrate, and JD Sports. Now all the action will go live around the world on DAZN, Sky Sports Box Office, and Fight TV. You know, one thing I absolutely love about the sport of boxing is just when you think you've seen everything, here comes something new. Never in the history of our sport have we seen an undercard so stacked with talent and world champions and in chief support of two fighters making their professional debuts. It's a truly unique and historic circumstance. So here to tell you all about it and introduce you to the great fighters on this card Saturday night, the man that put it together, the president of Matchroom Boxing USA, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, David, and thanks for this huge turnout today in Los Angeles ahead of, I guess, a crazy night on Saturday night. And it's been a joy working with KSI and Logan Paul for the build-up of this fight. It's completely blown my mind. The numbers that we're seeing on the pre-subscription buys for DAZN, for Sky Sports Box Office, for Fight TV are just crazy. And we're going to embrace this, we're going to enjoy it, and for the time we're going to talk about what is some call an undercard press conference. I don't really call it that. I think every fight on this card, particularly on the TV broadcast, is a main event. Of course, two world championship fights on this card and two of the very best pound-for-pound fighters already in the world of boxing. We know that there's a whole new audience coming to this sport on Saturday night, and the aim for us is to make sure that this audience gets to see greatness, that gets to fall in love with all the things that we fell in love with this sport of boxing. And when you watch people like Joe Saunders and Devin Haney, you must become instant fans. So our plan to create a huge global audience on Saturday and make sure they stick around, stay in the sport of boxing and follow all of these great fighters. Of course, our two principal broadcasters on Saturday night, DAZN in the USA and Sky Sports Box Office in the UK, both been huge supporters of ours for a long, long time. DAZN, in existence for just over 1 year, has had an incredible, incredible start to the sport of boxing. And even when you look over the last 5-6 weeks, how many Fight of the Year contenders have you seen during that period? Gennady Golovkin against Sergey Derevyanchenko, the return of Alexander Usyk to the heavyweight division. From the UK, Robbie Davis Jr. against Lewis Ritson in a Fight of the Year. From the UK as well on our card, Prograis against Taylor, unification matchup for the 140-pound division. Also today, we saw an incredible fight between Inoue and Donaire on DAZN and Sky Sports for the final of the WBS, another Fight of the Year contender, and of course, pound-for-pound #1 Canelo Alvarez in an incredible performance last week, stopping Sergey Kovalev to become a 4-weight world champion. Incredible stuff. We have this weekend, we have Monaco on November the 30th. We have Callum Smith defending his World Super Middleweight Championship and Ring Magazine belt November the 23rd in Liverpool. And who can forget December 7th, 1 month today, the biggest fight of the year, one of the biggest fights in history. Anthony Joshua rematches Andy Ruiz for the unified heavyweight world championship from Saudi Arabia. It's all to come with our amazing broadcasters. And right now, I'm going to bring up the head of boxing for Sky Sports, Adam Smith, to say a few words.
Thanks. As Eddie says, I think the schedule's been absolutely incredible, so powerful at the back end of 2019. Every week now we're getting these Fight of the Year candidates. I mean, I didn't think we get better than Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis, but by all accounts the Inoue-Donaire fight that happened a few hours ago was right up there amongst it. Epic stuff, and what a wonderful opportunity for these great fighters, the young talent, the prospects coming through from America, and an amazing opportunity for Joe Saunders to come over here and showcase what he can do as he defends his world title. There's big dreams for Joe, fighting the likes of Canelo, of Callum Smith, of Golovkin, but he's got business to take care of on Saturday and a tough challenger, and we're really looking forward to seeing Devin Haney. We're big fans of Devin. I first saw him, I think, when he was 12 or 13 in the Mayweather gym, and they were talking about him as though he was going to become the next Floyd. It's a long, long journey. It's a long way to go, but we're going to watch with progress. I think it's a fantastic signing for Matchroom Boxing. Really excited about Devin defending his title against an unbeaten fighter who's got a massive opportunity to strike on this wonderful event. We've got a big team here. We're embracing it. It's something different Saturday night, and I ensure all of you out there to embrace it too, because it's changing times in the boxing world, and this is a wonderful opportunity for the young generation to see what boxing is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. You've been around boxing for many years. Your, I guess, counter-colleague from DAZN hasn't been, but his impact in sport over the last 1 year has been a very, very important one. He's learning every day about the pain in the backside of this sport of boxing, the politics, the sulking online, and everything you have to put up with. But what he has done is put together an incredible schedule over the last year. And if you are an American fight fan, if you don't have DAZN, as we say in the UK, you are a right plonker, because you are continuously paying $80, $85 for pay-per-view boxing. For $99, you get an annual subscription to DAZN. And look at what you would have just seen in the last 5 or 6 weeks. Last week, Canelo against Kovalev is $85, $90 on any platform. That almost gives you your entire year's subscription. All the fighters that we talked about, Devin Haney, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Alexander Usyk, Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez. It's just non-stop action on DAZN. And this man has put together a great, great product over the last year, and it's just the beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, from DAZN, Joe Markowski.
Thank you, Eddie. It's always nice going after yourself and Adam. I run out of things to say. But listen, fresh off a fantastic weekend for the DAZN business and our partners at Golden Boy with Canelo's spectacular knockout in Las Vegas. It's great to be straight back into a massive fight week and a truly unique fight week. All the fighters on this stage have a unique opportunity this weekend to introduce themselves to what we firmly believe will be an absolutely massive audience on both sides of the pond and globally. The numbers we're seeing are phenomenal. The social numbers, the early subscription buys as well. So a huge opportunity for this roster of fighters to introduce themselves to the next generation of sports fans, the next generation, we hope, of boxing fans. In particular, thanks to Devin and to Billy Joe. You are standout headliners in your own right, and we really appreciate you seeing the vision we have and the plan we have to continue growing the sport of boxing and the significance that this event has in that plan. So, as Eddie says, don't be a plonker, download DAZN and enjoy a spectacular night of fights on Saturday night. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to hear from some of that younger generation coming through right now, and I think one of the most important things and one of the most enjoyable things about being in this sport is bringing through new talent, young talent, and the talent that we have on both sides of the Atlantic is incredible. And we have 4 of those here today, unbeaten young fighters, great amateurs who have turned professional, and big opportunity for them on Saturday night, not just to put in great performances, but to capture a new audience as well. I didn't know he was going to make it. He's just arrived here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up to the stage to say a few words, Alexis Espino.
Hello, everybody. I was running a little late, as you can. I'm very blessed to be here with everybody. So much good talent. Being able to fight under Devin Haney, Billy Joe Saunders, and especially KSI and Logan Paul, because they're so famous. I had a great training camp at RGBA. I'm very excited. And I think this time I'm going to look different. I think other times I've been starting off really slow. And I got something to show better this Saturday. Thank you.
A young man that's been lighting up the scene so far, coming off a shoulder injury, returned to winning ways in Chicago recently. A big round of applause, please, for Rashad Matty.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Big shout out to DAZN, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, and Sky Sports for giving me the opportunity to showcase my talent. Shout out to my mom, my dad, Sosa, everybody in my training camp. Training camp went well, and I'm just getting ready to put on a good show Saturday. Thank you guys.
Thanks, you two. And a young man from Los Angeles who I believe is an unquestionable future world champion. Still so young, huge at the weight, improving every single day. We'll have huge support at the Staples Center on Saturday night. I believe he'll actually be filling the Staples Center one day as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Diego Pacheco.
Good afternoon, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Diego Pacheco. I'm from LA. I'm 18 years old, and I'm currently 6-0 as a professional. It's always been a dream for me to fight at the biggest stage in my city, which is the Staples Center in downtown LA. So I'm really blessed. I'm happy and excited to perform this Saturday. So everybody tune in and expect a great show from all of us here on the stage. Thank you.
Thanks, Diego. And a guy that can definitely get mistaken for a cross between Logan Paul and the guy out Karate Kid, can't remember his name, is Nikita Ababiy, someone that is already lit up the zone since he turned pro earlier this year. One of the most exciting young prospects that I've seen in boxing, extremely heavy-handed and perfect for this kind of show. I believe this guy can be a real crossover star. Ladies and gentlemen, from Brooklyn, Nikita Ababiy.
Hello. First of all, thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Matchroom The Zone, for giving me such a platform and an opportunity to fight in this undercard, this amazing undercard. But Eddie knows I'm not much of a talker. I get nervous talking in front of big people. But I know 100% that if I look good, if I look great in the ring, and if I do what I have to do, like what I always do, I know a lot of things could change in my life. So me knowing that, I know that I'm come out explosive in the ring, spectacular, everything. And you will see fireworks this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. And when we talk about the world of social media and the world of boxing, this young man incorporates both. Already a successful MMA fighter with a huge following. I'm not sure how he does MMA looking like he does, but it's a big pleasure to add this young man to the card on Saturday night with huge support from that YouTube community. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Bruckner.
Yeah, I just want to thank DAZN for having me on this card. It's a huge opportunity. I didn't even know I was fighting until Monday because I had some other YouTubers actually back out. So I was supposed to fight Faye Sensei, and then he backed out on the card because none of the YouTubers want to fight a real fighter. So here I am, and I'm going to be fighting another pro MMA fighter, and this is going to be both of our boxing debuts. And I'm super excited to put on a show for the boxing community and show that also you can do YouTube and be a professional athlete at the same time. So excited to put on a show.
Thank you, Josh. One fight that's gone under the radar so far because of all the action is Ronnie Rios against Hugo Barrio. Ronnie Rios is never, ever in a bad fight. We want to thank Golden Boy for adding this fight to the card on Saturday night. Please welcome up, firstly, one half of that fight, Hugo Barrio.
Bueno, primero que todo, buenas tardes. Dándole las gracias a Dios por tenerme aquí, a Golden Boy y a Sergio Chan, por brindarme esta gran oportunidad de estar en esta gran velada. El día 9, Ronnie Rios va a tener un gran problema sobre el ring. Vengo por una victoria.
Good afternoon. Thank God and Golden Boy for having me on this card. I'm going to pose a big problem for Ronnie Rios in the ring on November 9th, so get ready. Thank you.
Thank you. That seemed a lot shorter than what he said, but I believe you. I believe you. You can say whatever you want. You could jazz it up a little bit. You could say that he said something about, I don't know, his family or something. I don't know, make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, the other part of that card, I've seen this young man fight live before. So exciting to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, Ronnie Rios.
First and foremost, I want to thank God for putting me on this big stage and on this great card. And second of all, I want to thank Matchroom Boxing and Hearn for giving me a second opportunity this year to be on the card. But most importantly, I want to thank Golden Boy for always coming through for my team and myself and always confiding in us and giving us another opportunity. But outside of that, I would like to thank Hector Lopez for putting up with me for 8 to 10 weeks of camp. Some people don't know what camp is, and when your fighter's showing up 6 days a week to your house to train and you're not turning them away, that means a lot to me, and you've never given up on me. Thanks, Hector. And just want to say to all the fighters, just keep it safe out there with all these injuries, but at the same time, just give the fight fans a good fight.
Thank you, Ronnie. We move on now to the 2 World Championship fights on the card. Firstly, Billy Joe Saunders against the unbeaten Marcelo Caseres. This is a great fight, great opportunity for Billy Joe Saunders to make his US debut. It's long overdue. And we want to thank Mario Margosian for helping us make this fight with Caceres. We want to thank the WBO as well, President Paco Valcazar, for all his help in putting this fight together, and also Billy Joe Saunders making the first defence of his WBO Super Middleweight World Championship after already winning the WBO Middleweight World Championship. If you haven't seen Billy Joe Saunders fight, this is a real gift to see. This guy is, I believe, one of the most naturally talented fighters to ever come out of the UK, and he sits now on the verge of all the mega fights in boxing. Everybody looks at Canelo Alvarez as the main guy to beat, and we're lucky enough at Matchroom and DAZN to have 5 guys that are queuing up to fight him. Gennady Golovkin, Demetrius Andrade, Demetrius Bivol, Callum Smith, and of course, Billy Joe Saunders. I believe Billy Joe Saunders is a real dark horse to fight Canelo Alvarez on Cinco de Mayo, and I know that it's a challenge that he would love to take. I believe that he has the ability to be a pound-for-pound great in the sport, but first, he must overcome a fight that he's expected to win, but one that won't come easy on Saturday night against a very good, undefeated challenger in Marcelo Caceres. So the first half of that, ladies and gentlemen, from Argentina, Marcelo Caceres.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Bueno, primero que nada quiero agradecer a los promotores que hoy hicieron posible que esté en donde estoy. Y también agradecerle a Sander por la oportunidad que me da para pelear por este título mundial, ¿no? Y bueno, vine a ganarme mi lugar acá en los Estados Unidos y bueno, voy por todo, por mis hijos, por el estudio, por la comida. Vine a ganar y a llevarme el título. Gracias.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the promoters who make this fight possible and made where I am possible. Thanks Saunders for the opportunity to fight him for this world title. I came to win in the US, going for everything, for my kids, their studies and their food, and to win and take this home. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcelo. And as I said, one of the great talents from world boxing. It's his first fight in America. It's his first fight on DAZN, and I'm delighted that it's his first fight with Matchroom Boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning world super middleweight champion, Billy Joe Saunders.
Well done, people. See what Eddie Hearn can talk. So, just first of all, I want to say a big thank you to everyone coming out. You know, thank God for our health and strength. But, you know, I need to showcase some skills here in America. No one really knows me here, but you will do art Saturday night. Big thank you to my management, MTK, and obviously my full team. But, you know, no disrespect to my opponent. I'm here to put a showcase on to, you know, show how levels are made. I'm at Canelo, Golovkin, all the big names. They've been hiding a long time now, so I'm 2-weight world champion. And I'm really hoping to put on a good performance in front of the American crowd. Thanks to DAZN and obviously Matchroom Boxing. Hope you enjoy your night. Some good fights, some super talent on the card, and a couple of YouTubers. God bless you all.
Thanks, Billy. The final World Championship fight on the card, Alfredo Santiago against Devin Haney. Again, when I talk of him the same way I talk about Billy Joe Saunders, you have to do exactly the same for Devin Haney, a man who is much younger, much more inexperienced, about 20 years of age. And I won't be able to say that for much longer because 21 coming up in November, but 20 years of age, just one of the most incredible talents I've ever seen, even at this age. It is a joy to work with him and his dad, Bill Haney, I think, here, and Devin Haney Promotions. These guys have a great vision, but most importantly, they will fight anyone. And I get questions from the media, you know, today about the World Championship, the Franchise Championship. Let me just tell you a story. when Devin Haney had 3 regional belts with the WBC, the WBO and the WBA, I asked him and Bill what they wanted to do. They said, we want Lomachenko. So we want to chase him down with the WBC. He did everything that was asked of him to chase down Lomachenko. And when they ordered a final eliminator against Abdullayev, he went and he schooled him at Madison Square Garden to become the mandatory for Lomachenko. They then decided that Devin Haney can't touch Lomachenko, so we're going to make him a franchise champion, making Devin Haney world champion. We're delighted that he's world champion, and he's earned that right through chasing the very, very best. But I would like to say one thing. Vasily Lomachenko is a great, great champion, and his dream is to be undisputed. You cannot be undisputed champion as the franchise champion, and other governing bodies will not acknowledge that as a unification matchup. If Vasily Lomachenko wants to be the undisputed world champion, he has to fight Devin Haney. Devin's got to get through Saturday night, but in 2020, you will see this young man in all the major marquee fights in boxing. He's going to be around for a long, long time. He's going to be a multi-weight world champion, and I believe he's the next superstar of American boxing. So no pressure on Saturday night, Devin Haney. The opponent on Saturday night, who's looking to completely ruin all those dreams, ladies and gentlemen, the challenger for the WBC World Lightweight Championship, Alfredo Santiago.
Bueno, primeramente darle las gracias a Dios por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí. A mi equipo de trabajo, que ha hecho un excelente trabajo conmigo, a mi promotor, Juan Orengo, por confiar en mí. Y nada, ansioso que llegue el sábado, para que el mundo sepa quién es Alfredo Santiago. Gracias.
First of all, thank God for having me here, my team who I work with, and the promoters for having the confidence in me. On Saturday night, everyone's going to know the name Alfredo Santiago. Thank you.
And finally, as I said, one of the biggest stars now in American boxing, future US superstar, undefeated WBC World Lightweight Champion, Devin "The Dream" Haney.
First off, I want to thank God, my team, my dad, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, DAZN, all the media that came out today. You know, this fight I'm going into it with a chip on my shoulder. You know, I feel like, you know, the world, the boxing fans isn't acknowledging me as, you know, the WBC world champion. So come Saturday night, I will show them. You know, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna put on a great performance, and if he can weather the storm, the boxing fans get a chance to see, you know, everything that Devin Haney is made of. If he can't, then it'll be a early night. So tune in Saturday night. I'm gonna put on a great performance. And I started to leave my belt in the car. I didn't want him breathing on my belt, but they brought it to me. So just tune in Saturday night. I will show the world I'm one of the best fighters in the world.
Thank you, fighters, for your patience. We're going to break now for additional media, and we're going to have head-to-heads with Hugo, Barrio, Ronnie, Rios, Devin Haney, and Santiago, and Billy Joe Saunders against Caseras. Thank you all very much. You'll see these great fighters on the card at Staples Center on Saturday night, live and exclusive on DAZN. Thank you very much.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. David Alorka, Gareth A. Davis back once again. Listen, what a press conference that was.
Yeah, what a venue, what a setting right here in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, USA. Ooh. It's USA versus GB up next. But first, what an array of fighters.
What an array of talent.
Exactly. Devin Haney there finishing off. I think this kid this WBC lightweight champion, is going to go on to be arguably the #1 pound for pound down maybe 3, 4, 5 years' time. I've just bumped into Bill Kaplan, who looks after him. Bill was the publicist of George Foreman.
Oh yeah, you just introduced me to him.
I just introduced.
Legend.
He's looking after
Devin Haney.
Devin Haney here.
Incredible.
There's big people at work. There's major people at work around this guy. Billy Joe Saunders, 2-weight world champion, undefeated, repping Hatfield, repping the Travellers, repping the UK. We've got it going on here. We've got great fighters on this card, and I'm really delighted. We didn't want to jump in the first segment.
No, we didn't.
We wanted to kind of split it, jump in. We were doing something different today.
Indeed, we're switching it up.
We did it differently.
A little switch up.
We set the alarm a little later.
It was a little switch up because we wanted to see the way in which the undercard press conference will unravel, how it would all come together,
as opposed to how they handled KSI versus Logan Paul.
Exactly.
So we want to let that roll out because I'm glad that they separated what is effectively a promoted fight, bolted on like a growth hormone. Like a growth hormone, getting hit by DAZN people here. Yes, it's your event. Joe Markowski's here. He's a very handsome man, or he will be when he becomes a man. You know?
Very important man, though, isn't he?
Very important man. But always good to give a little bit of abuse to on air. The thing is this. It's good that they separated KSI and Logan Paul.
Absolutely.
It's an event within an event within an event in Hollywood, Los Angeles today. That's the point, you know? And there's context to it, as Eddie Hearn would say. Context.
I see what you're doing there. No pun intended. I see
No
what you're doing
pun intended.
Now listen, we've got absolute stellar fights on this card. We're going to have them going down doing some head-to-heads. And what's incredible about this card is because, especially for the likes of somebody like Billy Joe Saunders, who you've got a lot of love for and a lot of time for, and you appreciate his skills and his talents within the sport, is that it introduces him to the US audience, to the mainstream and wide US audience, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Billy Joe Saunders has fought over here, of course. Devin Haney and Santiago facing off. Pacheco's facing off now, of course. As I've said, I think Devin Haney is one of those special characters. Fast twitch fibre. Reminds me of a very young Floyd Mayweather. He's an extraordinarily talented character. This is the moment to get tense. We're being jostled, bustled and harried here by all the people.
There's a lot of movement going on.
There's a lot of movement going on everywhere, yeah.
I see food coming up and down the stairs, you know what I mean? Chicken wings.
Yeah, you know
what I mean?
Just bring this in?
Bring these in. See what I'm saying?
This is, can we see that? This is press conference, Hollywood, Los Angeles style. Yeah?
You see what I'm saying? It's not done like that back home.
Who's this for, sir?
This is for all guests.
It's for us, yeah? Okay. Can I order a side of fries as well, please? Thank you very much.
And listen, we'll get you on your way back.
Yeah,
You got another plate for us, yeah? We'll get you on your way back.
Lovely, thank you very much.
We'll get you on your way back.
Thank you very much.
Can't be eating live on air. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Well, we
That's
just had the face of Devin Haney. What can people expect of his people that haven't seen? Because obviously this is going out to loads of people in England as well who may not have been able to see him fight yet. What you mentioned him to be a future Mayweather, a future pound for pound great. What can they expect of his fighting style on Saturday night?
He's fast twitch. He's very fast hands, fast feet.
Yep.
David, he's got it all. He's got it all going on.
Star quality.
He's got absolute star quality. There are special people in this industry. There are special people that fight for a living. There are special people who are so talented, their self-belief is rarely dented.
Absolutely.
Because when they're challenged, they move up a level. We always talk about this sport being a game of levels.
Indeed.
Yeah, well, it's not a game, actually. I shouldn't use the word game. There's no game involved here.
But there are levels to this.
There's no tickling competition. It's not tiddlywinks, you know? But there's no tickling involved. Do you know what I mean? You know that.
It's a serious game.
The thing with people like Haney, when they're challenged by the kind of people that ought to give them problems, Joe Markowski's coming by. Come in here a minute, Joe.
Swing it in.
Come on in. Joe Markowski.
Did I hear you say
Gareth, you need to go around the other side, mate.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was...
You need to swing him in. Come in.
Yeah, I don't use words like prepubescent on William Hill because it's a betting station. But what I said was, when you become a man, you're going to be very, very good looking.
That's very kind of you to say. I think that's a compliment.
It is, of course it is. This is a massive event for you guys because we've been talking about it all week. I was an abolitionist of this event to begin with. I'm going to come clean about it.
Yeah,
I took the purist stance, and I believe that.
I'm surprised by
why
that,
were they?
No, I'm not joking. I'm surprised you don't see the
He does. No, he does. He does now.
I've done a 180.
He's done a full 180.
No, but also, we sat around talking about this around poolside in our mansion earlier. Yeah. And am I lying?
No, you ain't.
But the thing is,
it's that gambling money.
Yeah. This fight, this event, is bridging a gap that's going on in society. That there is an evolution, and you've got to be on top of it to be relevant as a broadcaster, as a sport, as individuals. And I'm glad I'm here because I feel like I'm being educated here in a world that maybe I didn't know a lot about.
Yeah, look, we feel exactly the same way. We sat down with Eddie a year ago, planning out what 2019 looked like, and credit to him, he'd seen the success of the first pay-per-view event these guys did on YouTube last year. It was a 7-figure number legally.
Yeah.
The pirate numbers, I think, were significantly bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's obviously a battleground for us this weekend. But look, the guys have an unbelievable reach. I'll be honest, and I've said this a few times, probably to you guys, I feel like I missed this phenomenon by about 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Half generation probably below where I am. But you sound at the London press conference, you guys were there.
Yeah.
The LA press conference was similar. You have conversation with colleagues who've got 10 and 12-year-old kids saying, you've got to get my kid a video from one of these guys. You know, people are coming up to my family in the street going, is Joe involved in that event? My kids can't stop talking about it. It's sort of crunching through, and that's globally, right? Our team in Canada, the same. Our team in the US, our team in the UK. So that's anecdotal, right? Then you compare that with the data, the numbers, the social numbers these guys are spitting out. We produced 3 episodes of our sort of build-up hype programming. The first 2 we put on their YouTube channels at the same time. They're the number 1 and 2 trending videos on YouTube globally for about 36 hours.
Wow.
It's insane. The numbers are huge. So for Sky, for us, for Fight TV globally, this is an awesome opportunity, and for the fighters and the undercard we just talked through, to really stitch themselves into what you described very, very succinctly there. It's a new phenomenon. It's a new wave of consuming content, and if we can introduce Billy Joe and Devin Haney to 20% of the audience on Saturday night, we are only doing a service of good for the sport.
That was the argument put out originally, that was seen as the greater good for the sport, but the osmosis that I now feel, the osmosis as I took the rays by the pool, as we looked at the whole debate about how society's moving. You have the perfect osmosis with DAZN and these guys. It's like you just said, we've been awakened to the generation we weren't in touch with. That's what's so exciting about this. And it's exciting just to be in touch with that generation. Yes, commercially, yes, in marketing terms, yes, in terms of business, but we will all awaken from things like this. I really do believe it. I'm not BSing. I really do. I've said to you, haven't I, Dave? I really feel like I'm learning about new people, and it's going to make us better as human beings almost.
And look how fantastic is it that these guys with the power and the reach they do have chosen the sport of boxing as the platform on which to compete, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's credit to Eddie, being honest, the sort of revolution of boxing the last 5 or 6 years in the UK is something we're trying to replicate here, obviously with Eddie and Golden Boy's support. Hugely.
Yeah, it's not kart racing or because it could be that, couldn't it? Could be transatlantic swimming, could be rowing.
Could be paintballing. It could be anything.
I said if KSI decided to do underwater basket weaving, people will show up.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And he's pretty good at it, I've heard.
Yeah, well, you can test that back at your pool later on. But look, I think it's a fantastic for the sport of boxing that this you know, our view on boxing, the reason we've entered the market is because we feel that boxing, in the US in particular, has done itself a harm in a number of ways the last 30 years. Pay-per-view being the obvious thing. Imagine taking the FA Cup final or the Champions League final or the Super Bowl and whacking it behind a $90 paywall on top of a $200 a month cable subscription. You wouldn't do it. So boxing needs to embrace things like this to re-engage young audiences, and lots of sports need to do that. And we are delighted that these 2 guys, who are probably 2 of the top 3 YouTubers globally, with social media superstars, are choosing the sport of boxing on which to sort of settle their beef. It's fantastic for the sport.
And when we've got such a high-ranking executive such as yourself, the VP of America for DAZN.
Let him know.
What's the new E bit?
It's not new. You're just forgetful.
Okay.
I might be prepubescent. You're getting senile.
No, I was about to say that on that very note, you know, we know you're in your 30s, but you look 21. So it's great because you're the perfect figurehead and the perfect face for this new generation.
I appreciate that.
You'll never look older, Joe.
Well,
so you'll always be able to be in touch with this market.
Yeah, I had a shave this morning, exactly to maintain this momentum.
Yeah, we don't want you growing a big hairy biker's beard.
No.
Because it would ruin it.
All wearing blue sunglasses to cover last night's activities.
Oh!
Anyway.
Savage!
That really is
Savage.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, we're going to let you go. We'll let you go. But honestly, it's an
All I'll
absolute
say
pleasure.
is I
Thank
did
you.
set the alarm a little later this morning.
Have a good week.
Yeah,
Cheers,
you too,
thank
Joe.
you.
We'll see you in a bit.
Joe
Listen,
Markowski there.
Listen, what Joe is doing there is he's letting us know the reality of the situation here. Look,
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's an absolutely fascinating situation. We spoke about earlier on. We're going to have those two people on really soon. Before we go, though, I need to hit you guys up with the odds.
Yes.
Because of this undercard. Because
I
this might be the
suspect
last time we
Logan
speak
Paul
about
is
that.
still the favourite.
Yeah, no. Don't worry. We'll do their odds during their press conference.
Okay,
I'm talking about, yes,
for
Devin
Devin
Haney.
Haney, for Billy Joe Saunders
Indeed,
and so on. Okay.
absolutely. Now, Devin Haney's opponent in this fight, Alfredo Santiago, to win this fight, like I said before, you won't find a better place round by round betting than on William Hill. Rounds 1 and rounds 12 is 150 to 1.
Wow.
Rounds 2 to rounds 11 is 125 to 1.
That's worth a cheeky 2 coin, isn't it? If there is one still.
Cheeky, yeah, it is worth a 2 coin.
So Americans do 2 coins. No.
No.
There's
There's a rare $2 bill though. There's a rare $2 bill you can get.
Yeah, the green goddesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Devin Haney, round 1's at 12 to 1, round 2 is at 10 to 1. Rounds 3 is at 15 to 2. 4 and 5 is at 13 to 2. 6 goes back up to 15 to 2.
Yeah.
Then 8, 12 to 1, 9, 14 to 1, 10, 18 to 1, 11, 20 to 1, 12, 25 to 1. So we're expecting it to finish quite early to mid rounds.
I do not expect this young man
Yes.
to be tested until he comes up against the likes of Richard Comey,
Yes.
Vasyl Lomachenko in particular,
Teofimo Lopez,
Luke Campbell.
Indeed.
Let's not forget some of our guys. Yeah?
Absolutely.
He is sublimely talented. Don't miss him on Saturday night.
Not at all.
He is worth the alarm clock, worth the extra coffee, worth going out for those extra couple of hours and coming home and watching live.
Absolutely. And moving on to Billy Joe Saunders versus Marcelo Esteben Coceres.
Marcelo Esteben Coceres.
That's right.
Que bien, Davies.
Listen, I'll tell you. Let me hit him with it. From rounds 1 to 12 is 150 to 1 for him to win. Billy Joe, round 1 is at 20 to 1. Round 2 is at 16 to 1. 3, 12, 4, 11, 5, 10. Then it drops to 9 to 1s from round 6 to round 10, and then back up to 11 to 1 in round 11 and 14 to 1 in round 12.
I think it's very interesting because, you know, Esteben Coceres is undefeated. Spielberg's getting us to wrap, so I'll make it quick. He's undefeated. We don't know how good he could be, but Saunders, Billy Joe from Hatfield, from the Travellers site in Hatfield, one of my favourites of all time I've ever worked with, known him since he was a kid at the Olympics. He is very, very, very difficult to beat.
Absolutely.
The ring is his home, yeah? He's so comfortable. He's going to be very difficult to beat. I see him winning on points.
Absolutely.
It's a points victory for Billy Joe Saunders.
Glorious, absolutely. It's a points victory for Billy Joe Saunders. Just to hit you up with the odds on that means you see it going 12 rounds. On points is at 15 to 8. Now listen, it's about time to lock off because obviously we've got the main presser coming shortly. We've got loads of interviews to do. Keep it locked to William Hill socials. Keep it locked to IFL TV as well. We've got the main presser coming next.